Welcome to a pro and con forum on Measure C, appearing on your November ballot if you live in the city of Sacramento. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the Metro Cable Television Commission of Sacramento. I'm Paula Lee. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, and I'll be the moderator for this forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization of men and women. We work at all levels of government, national, state, and local, to encourage informed and active participation in government. We do not oppose or support political candidates or political parties. And although we do not endorse candidates or oppose candidates, we are a political organization. And we do, after careful study, take positions on ballot measures and on legislation at all levels of government with our advocacy arm. You can find our positions on our website. If you're interested in public policy or want to support our volunteer work, we invite you to join us. The format for this forum will be as follows. Each side will have 4 minutes for an opening statement to make the case. Each side will have then 2 minutes to answer the questions. And then finally, speakers will have a short 1-minute closing statement. The timer, League volunteer Carol Enns, is sitting in the front row, speakers, and she will give you the 30 seconds left and the stop sign. Now, Measure C. The question on the ballot for voters is this. Shall the measure adding an article to the City of Sacramento Charter to create a new elected body, a rental housing board, with powers that include setting rents, establishing regulations, establishing its own budget, charging fees to finance its operations, establishing penalties, conducting investigations, and adjudicating rent adjustments, set a base rent for all covered rental units within the city and cap annual rent increases, and limit landlords' ability to terminate tenancies, be adopted. We'll begin with an opening statement from Katie Valenzuela, representing the Yes on C campaign. Katie?
Thank you, Paula, and thank you, League of Women Voters and everybody watching. I'm excited to be here today on behalf of Measure C. My name is Katie Valenzuela. I am the incoming City Council member for District 4, and I will be, when I get sworn into City Council, the only renter on the City Council in Sacramento. And I want to talk briefly about what it's like to be a renter in Sacramento today, because I think for folks who might not have rented for a while, you may not fully understand what the reality is for those of us who are renting, particularly in the central city. Right now, actually, when I first moved to Midtown, there were lots of apartments available to me at an affordable rate. If I had a nosy neighbor or noisy neighbor or wanted to change roommates, it was easy for me to find another unit that I could afford and to move quite easily around the city as I did back in those days. Today, however, is a much different story. Today, we have a lot of renters who are really trapped in the units that they're in. Most units, new units coming on the market, are listed well above what people who work in Sacramento can afford. New units actually built at the Press in Midtown and at H16 are starting prices at 500 square foot studio apartments. The starting price is $1,600 to $1,800 a month. That's not something that a lot of folks who live and work in the central city can afford. And what's happening is a lot of folks are being forced out, either to move outside of the city to find roommates, or in the worst case scenario, they're ending up on the street. Recently, the Sacramento Bee covered new homeless data that's showing that more folks are ending up on the street than we're getting off the street. We are in a crisis, and we all know we're in a crisis that requires a myriad of solutions. And Measure C is not purporting to solve the whole problem. All Measure C is trying to do is to create stabilization for folks who have housing right now, because we will never get ahead of the crisis if folks keep losing the units that we have in housing at this moment. It creates stronger eviction protections that still still give landlords the rights to evict problematic tenants. It caps rent increases at the rate closer to what our incomes change each year, because right now up to 10% simply isn't how quickly our incomes are growing. And when you can demonstrate that you have 3 times the rent in your monthly income, if you are paying your rent on time, if you've been a good tenant, you deserve to be able to keep affording that unit until you decide to move. That's what it takes to build a robust economy. That's what it takes to have robust and diverse communities. And finally, the measure creates a renters board, which will reduce bureaucracy. It will help prevent the number of cases that go to court. Right now, if a landlord needs to evict someone or if a tenant needs relief from an unjust situation, really their only option is to go to court. That is a far more expensive and bureaucratic process than having a renters board. And the renters board creates nuance in implementation of the law. Right now, if you are a landlord, and I've spoken to these landlords in Midtown who's charging $500 a month for a unit, which is well below market, they are punished for that under current city and state law because they are subject to the same limits as the folks who've been charging $2,000 a month in rent. And it doesn't feel fair to them, and it's not fair. But a renters board would be able to grant exceptions. It would be able to look at improvements to a property or demonstrated need of a landlord and really allow exceptions to the current caps that are not present in the current law. And it will give us more tools to ensure that it really works for everybody. But in the end, I just keep coming back to the fact that if we can't stabilize folks where they're at, right now we were already upside down. We cannot stabilize folks quickly enough to prevent inflow into homelessness. This is an important tool in the tool belt, and I hope you'll join me in voting yes on Measure C.
And now an opening statement from Artie Zahardani. How'd I do?
Great. Thank you, Paula, and League of Women Voters for having us this afternoon. I'm Artie Zahardani. I'm a partner with St. Anton Communities. We're one of the state's most active developers of mixed income and affordable housing all throughout the state, with many units in the Sacramento region. The concept of mixed income housing is one where a number of the units are market rates, are not affected by any kind of regulatory increase regulations, and then a number of units are affordable and they're restricted for anywhere from 55 years on. And I can tell you unequivocally that we are in a housing crisis right now, and Measure C only makes it worse. I'll give you a simple concept. If we were building a 100-unit project and 20 of those units would be restricted for very low-income tenants, and the remaining 80 would be restricted for market rate, well, the 80 market rate units help subsidize the 20 that are affordable. If you cap the ability to increase those rents with the market, then you won't build the affordable. And that's why you're seeing very, very few mixed income housing projects throughout California. Sacramento would be one of the only regions to have such a prescriptive and aggressive rent control policy, and that would only hurt affordable housing. This measure creates bureaucracy, it slows down the process for getting approvals, it makes us uncompetitive with our competition throughout the state. If there are cities and counties that don't have rent control policies, why would a major developer build here when they could build there? And then just the last point I want to make before going into detail is that this bureau, this bureaucracy, this board that will be created will cost millions and millions of dollars per year. That money could go to fund the gap that's necessary to build affordable housing. For now, we're seeing that affordable housing projects have anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 of gap financing need to make them pencil, to make them feasible. That money should be spent there. That money should be spent on first-time home buyer programs, first-time renter default programs. That's what we should be focusing on. What we're seeing throughout the region, I'll give you an example. The city of Folsom is in the same county and has been one of the most successful developers of affordable housing. They created a fund, they had staff on board who are knowledgeable and who invite developers to come into town. So if you have a project proposed in the city of Sacramento where this prescriptive, really aggressive program is in place, or you could go 10 miles down the road and build the same project without these restrictions. If you're a developer and you're seeking multiple layers of financing, different investors, different lenders, why would you come to Sacramento? This is exactly what we don't need right now. We should be focused on building, 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 so there's more supply and rent is decreased, not putting regulations on board that restrict the interest in our community. So for that, we respectfully ask you to vote no on Measure C.
Thank you. So we begin the first question with you, Katie Valenzuela. What do you see as the pros and cons of a rent control board?
Thank you. The Rent Control Board is quite possibly the most controversial part of this measure, which I find interesting because I actually think it's one of the best parts of this measure. So the pros, obviously, are that it can set rent increase allowances, it can create exceptions, it is a place for both landlords and tenants to go when there are problems. That is going to help reduce court bureaucracy, reduce costs, and reduce time for resolving conflict. The cons, however, of course, are that we don't know who will be on this board. It will be another election that could be influenced again by real estate interests who want to see exemptions granted in their favor. So we will have to be diligent to ensure that the board remains renter focused and that we are running candidates like they do in Berkeley and other cities that have the rent board quite successfully to be able to run candidates who have the tenant's interest at heart.
Artie?
Yeah, do you mind repeating the question?
What do you see as the pros and cons of a rent control board?
Yeah, I see very, very few pros of a rent control board. It creates another class of elected officials, another group to be both elected, be available. It creates a lot of bureaucracy. Right now, renting an apartment unit is not a new concept. It's been in our DNA for a very long time. There's a judicial process. If somebody's a drug dealer, if somebody's a bad actor, if there's a case for removing them as a tenant, it's in the best interest of everybody living there. So there's a process in place, and it's gone through the judicial system. To create a whole new body would be a waste of time and a waste of resources.
Okay, next question for you, Artie. Everyone agrees that Sacramento faces a housing crisis. This may be a little bit out of the scope of exactly Measure C, but it's related. How will the city actually promote the development specifically of affordable housing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the city of Sacramento is doing a tremendous job of incentivizing affordable housing. Right now, we are in the process of starting construction on nearly 200 unit senior affordable housing project in the Natomas area of Sacramento. And let me tell you what the city of Sacramento has done. One, they removed all impact fees from affordable housing projects. That's the first I've seen anywhere in the state where it's very, very clear what your certainty is once you get into a project. Two, they've been very, very clear with zoning. They've made it much less of a political process. Back to your initial question about why the rent control board doesn't work, it is another political board. The city of Sacramento has made it so clear what your entitlement approval processes are going to be. If you're in a specific zone, you just have design review. You don't have to go through a political entitlement process where people who are opposed to all sorts of affordable housing will show up and they'll sue you and they'll delay, and they use many tactics. So I think the city of Sacramento, with both their ability to give you certainty, two, reducing fees, and three, they're working on ways to create a trust fund where you can subsidize the gap that's necessary to make these projects feasible.
Katie?
Thank you for this question. I think the opposition to Measure C is really trying to scare folks by saying that this is going to impact development. So let's get back to some of the facts. State law prohibits rent control from applying to units built since 1995 to single-family homes to a whole range of properties. In fact, it's why Proposition 21 is on the ballot this year to try to change that law. So we as a city are not able to apply rent control to new units. We're not able to regulate how much you would start the price of a unit when it's built. We're not able to regulate how much you'll increase a price in between tenants. This has nothing to do with new units. This only has to do with existing housing stock and ensuring that it stays affordable. And when we talk about what the city should be doing, since the city gutted inclusionary housing in 2015, in the first year, affordable housing development went down 56%, according to the Sacramento News and Review. 56%. In the last 8 years, we've only built 2 units that are eligible for extremely low income households. And this is because exactly a point that was made earlier. We don't have match funding. We're not charging enough money to developers to generate the revenue we need to provide support to folks who are trying to build affordable units so that those projects will pencil. At the time inclusionary was gutted, SHRA said we needed to charge closer to $9 per square foot if we're going to compensate for how much need we have for that funding. And Sacramento only charged $2.56 or 58 cents per square foot, a fraction of what we knew we needed back then. And what we are seeing as a result of that is less affordable development because of the policies in in place that the city could change today. Measure C doesn't do anything to change new development. It does nothing to change the price that those units could be offered at, and really is a totally separate issue from the issue of developing new housing, which the council can and should address more ambitiously.
This question for you, Katie. The city's current rent stabilization ordinance does not provide for just cause eviction protections until after the tenant has been there for a year. What are the pros and cons of that approach?
I mean, the cons are obvious. Measure C provides plenty of relief for landlords who have tenants who are causing problems. All of the issues named before, if you're committing crimes, if you're destroying a property, if you're late on rent, if you've brought in unauthorized roommates, all of those things you are still able to evict somebody for. That's why we call them just cause evictions. Right now, we have no protections. If you say, right now, actually, I have a friend who just got an eviction notice because the landlord is going to move in a family member. He has no relief. He didn't save. He doesn't have last month's rent right now. He doesn't have the ability to move and to find a unit that's affordable to him. So he's looking at moving in with somebody that he knows. So we've now consolidated, again, 2 people into one home because the system isn't in place to ensure that if a landlord exercises their rights to evict, that there are protections in place to ensure these tenants don't end up in a bad situation. And to, again, put this in numerical numbers, you need first and last month's rent, you need moving expenses. Sometimes this can be more than $5,000. And in the middle of a pandemic, when people have already emptied their savings, it's just too much vulnerability to ask somebody to wait a year. So for me, the cons far outweigh the pros. I understand that folks want to give landlords a chance to get to know their tenant, to make sure they like their tenant, but really on day one, those tenants deserve protections from things that could cause them to be evicted.
Artie?
Yeah, that's a great question. As we're getting these projects built throughout the state, we're building thousands and thousands of affordable housing and mixed income units. I always make this comment at the podium or whenever I'm speaking to community or elected officials, is that we found in all of our experience tens of thousands of units that the affordable, the regulated tenants are much better actors in almost all circumstances than the market rate tenants because they don't have any other options. You have to wait in lists. You have to be lucky, one of the few privileged who are one of 3,000 who are on a lottery who get chosen to have a unit. And so they always end up being, in most cases, end up being the best tenants. If there's a problem, whether it's a nuisance, some sort of noise complaint, they're the first to respond because they don't want to lose the privilege of having a home that they can afford. Whereas market rate tenants have other opportunities. We just opened up a project in Fremont, California. We had 290 units. We had 5,000 applications for qualified families. We had to go through 3 separate lotteries. That's how challenging it is to create affordable housing. The concept of eviction only comes into place if there's a bad actor. If somebody's dealing drugs, if somebody's causing other problems, stealing, they need to be removed from the community, and there's a judicial process for that. In the new Measure C language, I think it says clear and convincing evidence has to be in place. That's going to be a step backwards. We need to have clean, safe, habitable communities that are indistinguishable from market rate.
This question for you. Since most people's wages do not go up consistently every year, and they certainly don't always go up 10%, what is the argument against having a lower cap on rent increases?
So back to the initial comment about supply. The way you deal with affordable housing and any kind of housing is by creating units. In the Bay Area right now, apartments, the 2-bedroom apartment that was going for about $5,500 a month about 8 months ago. Now it's $1,950 a month because there's more supply than demand. We can't use government regulations to reduce the quantity of units. It's all about creating projects. Sacramento has seen a tremendous number of units thanks to really the city government. You're seeing a number of market rate projects. And if all you have to do is go on Craigslist or apartments.com, the rents are dropping because there are more units. So the idea that Sacramento would have some sort of arbitrary cap, whether it's 6% or 4%, 3%, where our neighbors down the street wouldn't, it'll really dissuade the major developers from coming to this region and investing in Sacramento when they can go down the street to Folsom or Rockland or Elk Grove and not have to have the same regulatory restrictions. You would get very similar rent, but you would have a longer certainty for your ability to get market rate investors and lenders. So it's all about the financing marketplace. We can't have these types of caps.
Katie?
I love that the Bay Area was used as an example, because part of the reason you might argue that less people are demanding housing in the Bay is because more folks are moving here. And that's substantiated by evidence of our local economic councils that we have well over 100,000 folks that have moved here from the Bay. And it's seemingly unending stream of folks who think that $1,500, $1,600 a month for a studio apartment is a great deal. So I believe this argument of supply demand sounds really good, but really economic theory teaches us that it's not just about supply and demand, it's what people are willing to pay. It's the price point that folks are willing to pay, which is why iPhones, even though there's millions of them out there in the market, still cost $800. It's not about how many are out there, it's about what the price is that folks are willing to pay. And the reality is the number of folks I met when I was out canvassing who have moved here from the Bay, who think this is a great community, who think it's super affordable, are able to pay more money per month than folks here in Sacramento. And I've just named at least 2 apartment complexes that have been built recently. I could name more, whose starting price for a 500 square foot studio apartment is already at the top end of what someone who was making the average wage in Sacramento could afford. Forget if you have children who need an extra room. Forget if you have any additional needs that require you to go beyond that base unit. It's simply not true. There is no evidence that when we build more, the prices go down. It's about what people can pay, which is why regulations and government have to play a role in ensuring that we can keep up with those prices. The simple fact is that not many of you who are listening to this are making more than 10% increases in your wages every year. In some cases, you may have lost income this year because of the pandemic. It doesn't make sense that if I can qualify for a unit, I enter into agreement, I've moved in, this is my home, it's an essential thing. This is like charging more for water based on my income. It's just like, this is something that I need to live. That if I can keep up with those rent payments, there shouldn't be a reason to increase it beyond what I can afford. That's just, honestly, it's a little greedy.
Katie, maybe you can clear this up. There's been a lot of controversy about the original signers of the Measure C proposal. One of the 3 original proposers withdrew from the agreement with the city, and so I wondered if you wanted to comment on that.
Absolutely. I think we have very clear laws and rules about how to qualify a measure for the ballot. And the simple fact is, unless all of the signers of that ballot submission agree to withdraw, the ballot measure moves forward. And I was not in those back rooms when those deals were apparently made, but I've seen no compelling evidence that there was any sort of agreement. And even if there were, someone is allowed to change their mind. Someone is allowed to say, you know what, the 44,000 people who signed the petition to put this on the ballot deserve the right to vote on what they've signed. So that's all we fought for, was the right to vote. The city actually sued that proponent to try to get her to withdraw her name. Spent a lot of resources actually in trying to push this, from keeping it us from being able to just vote on something that's in our best interest. So I think the whole controversy here has been incredibly overblown. People deserve the right to vote. That proponent deserved the right to keep her name on and to push this towards the ballot. And the city's fighting this was really as undemocratic as it could get.
Artie?
Yeah, I'm not involved in the politics or the legal side of this political measure. I'm a volunteer just involved because I think it'll be horrible for housing production and affordable housing in our area. But I do have a list of supporters of the measure where it's all of the city council and the mayor, the business community, the labor community, social justice groups, public safety. If this was the right measure, I don't think all those people would be opposed to Measure C. I've never seen this level of support. I have read in the Sacramento Bee and other journals that there's a lot of infighting with the group that originally proposed this measure. That just adds more cloudiness to it. I think the state has done enough. The city of Sacramento has done enough with their adoption of a rent stabilization plan. It's time to get back to work. Start building houses where people can live in. We don't need this to take us a step back.
Artie, the opponents of Measure C say that it will make neighborhoods less safe. What do they mean by that?
Yeah, I haven't read that specific statement, but I can tell you we are in a budget crisis. All you have to do is read the news or listen to anybody who's involved in local government. And the Rent Control Board is going to be a very, very expensive board. The measure numbers that we're seeing from other jurisdictions that have similar boards have been millions of dollars. And if you're not bringing in income because we're in a global pandemic and we are in a lot of financial trouble possibly for 2021, well, the cost of that board would have to be infused by somebody, would have to be absorbed by somebody. And I think the understanding is that the public safety budgets could be impacted by that, and that's something we really can't afford right now.
Katie?
Wow, that is an extreme claim that's not based. The Renters Board is in no way going to impact public safety funding in Sacramento. In fact, some would argue that a different measure on the ballot would have more of a negative impact on public safety funding. This is going to be funded by fees. It's going to be funded in a way that will help support the robust activities of this board to keep it accessible to the community. There's absolutely no cause for the statement that was just made, so I'll just leave it there.
All right. There are several questions on how the Rent Control Board would operate. And I know you've mentioned it a little bit, but could you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, the Rent Board will operate through hearings, through public testimony and engagement. It will be a space where someone who maybe their landlord hasn't been keeping up with maintenance and repairs, and they're dealing with, as I found in a lot of apartments, unfortunately, when I was canvassing, mold issues, leaking windows issues, things that haven't been fixed. It would give renters as well as landlords a place to file a grievance against either a tenant or a landlord to seek relief from their rent or from their debt to that landlord until those issues were resolved, and really create a space for us to solve the problems as a community, which is better than going to a court. The court system is already overloaded. It's really expensive. It's not locally based, and it's something that will help build community and build community solutions and allow for a nuance and implementation that is missing from local and state law at the moment. And I cannot emphasize that enough. Right now, every landlord is treated the same under the state law and the local ordinance. No, there is no relief given if you've made a big improvement. There is no relief given if you cannot afford to maintain your building or keep your building under the current structure. This creates nuance and implementation that is absent from current state and local law, and it's going to be better for everybody.
Artie?
You know, the example I'm just thinking of as I hear the other speaker speak is that if you're sick, you go to a physician and she prescribes medicine or performs surgery, does something to help him feel better, and that physician has gone to school for a number of years and has a lot of experience to be able to make that type of recommendation. A rent control board fulfilled by politicians who don't have experience in many cases is the absolute wrong step. That's why you have a judicial process. You have attorneys who are experts at this. You have very clear case law that explains how somebody can be evicted, how rents can be affected. If you start putting politicians in those positions who have aspirations of higher office, what will really be in their best interest?
Okay. This one will begin with you. Does Measure C exempt people who rent their home out privately?
I think that's a yes or no question, and I believe the answer is yes. I don't have the text in front of me, but I don't think it affects a one-off single renter. But Katie would probably know better.
Katie?
Yeah, and under current state law, we're actually not allowed to regulate single-family homes. That's something that's known under a bill called Costa-Hawkins, which is what Prop 21 is looking at. So we wouldn't be able to preclude someone from renting out their single-family home at whatever rate they pleased.
Okay, well, that concludes the questions that I have. So I'm going to extend a little time for your closing statements to 2 minutes instead of 1 minute, and we'll begin with Artie.
Well, thank you again for having us speak. I love the fact that we can have a robust, transparent discussion about this issue. It's a horrible time to be in the process of creating housing for people, whether you're a developer, you're a home builder, you're a construction worker, you're a manager. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's a lot worse than when the proponents of this, or the proponent of this measure placed it on the ballot or received the signatures. Times are very uncertain right now. We're seeing a lot less interest for developers of affordable mixed income and market rate housing to be willing to take the risks. No matter what you're building, if you need to borrow money, you have to go to the marketplace and seek funds. You have to be able to service your debt. There has to be enough of a gap between how much your debt is, what your taxes are, what your operating expenses are for the project to be feasible. And rents have dropped, and they are going to continue to drop during this pandemic. The last thing we need is further regulation. The city has adopted a rent stabilization plan. We don't love it. The affordable housing advocates and the rent control advocates don't love it. Nobody loves it. Well, That's usually a good thing. It took a lot of negotiation, a lot of processing to draft something that everybody accepted. Now this is another measure that takes another bite of flesh that's going to make it even tougher to build affordable mixed income and market rate housing in this region. We need to continue the good work of the City Council. They've taken many steps to promote affordable housing through reducing fees, through making zoning easier, through taking the politics out of the construction of housing. Remember, politics are key to housing. You could be building a project somewhere that's different than everything else around it, makes sense, has very few mitigation, but somebody will come out and sue you because they don't want affordable housing. This is the last thing we need. It creates bureaucracy, it takes away from vital city services, and it hurts affordable housing. Please vote no on Measure C.
Katie Valenzuela.
Thank you for listening to this forum. I cannot emphasize enough that this has nothing to do with developing new housing. I wish we could actually regulate more new units that are coming onto the market, but we can't. It's prohibited legally by the state. If you want to change that, look at Prop 21. But in the meantime, there's nothing that we can do to impact vacancy rate increases, to impact new units being built. So don't fall for the scare tactics of the opposition to this. Every renter in this city knows, even people who aren't renters, who now have children living at home with them because they can't afford to live in the city. Rents have not gone down. Rents have gone up in this pandemic. The SACB just had an article the other day saying in Sacramento, rents are still going up. There's still vacant units listed at $2,000, $2,500 a month, which most folks who work here simply cannot afford. This is about protecting the units that folks are in now so that we can take a little bit of a breath and really look at the new construction and our homelessness crisis with fresh eyes, and how do we tackle that? By stabilizing folks who have housing now, we're capturing a part of the problem, which is so critical. We can't move forward if more folks are losing their housing than we're able to build. We're just going to end up in this perpetual cycle that's going to lose for renters who really need support, really need housing, really just want to stay where they're at, but want to keep paying their rent on time, want to keep being able to afford to stay in their communities. So I cannot urge you strongly enough to not fall for these scare tactics. We know what's happening in our city. We see it every day. If you don't think there's a connection between the folks on the street and what we're talking about today, I encourage you to look again, because we have to stabilize the housing folks are in. We have to ensure that our workers and baristas and state workers and television workers can continue to afford to live in this city, or we are going to continue to struggle to recover after this pandemic. So please join me and a whole range of social groups. I don't know about the conflict that was referenced earlier. We're all working our butts off to ensure that you vote yes on Measure C. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this concludes our forum. I want to thank both of you for sharing your views on Measure C. It'll help inform voters, and the voters in the city of Sacramento. It'll be on their ballot. Also want to thank Carol Enns, the timer, league volunteer out there, and the folks here at Sacramento Metro Cable, especially the production director, Kristen Riggs, and her team, including Andrea, our floor director. And now a message for voters in Sacramento. All registered voters have received a ballot in the mail with a prepaid first-class postage return envelope. So if you have not received your ballot, you may need to register to vote. Please do. You can do it easily and quickly online at registertovote.ca.gov. registertovote.ca.gov. After you've filled out your ballot, there are 3 safe, secure, and reliable options for returning your ballot. You can mail it. I would advise voting early. And remember, no stamp is required. Please do remember to sign the outside envelope. Sometimes the county elections folks tell us at the league that many ballots come in without signatures. And voters, you'll be happy to know that our elections department is incredible. They actually call people up and say, you forgot to sign your ballot, and invite people to come in and sign it so that they can count it. The other option for depositing your ballot is in a secure drop box. Every county library and all the Rayleighs and all the Bel Airs in our county will have secure drop boxes to return your ballot during their open hours between now and November 3rd. If you would like to vote in person, you can do that beginning October 24th. And you can also return your ballot at a vote center. These vote centers are full service. They offer voter registration, a replacement ballot should you have spilled coffee on your ballot or something, lost it, accessible voting machines, and they offer language assistance as well. You can find the locations for all the drop boxes and the vote centers right in the envelope that your ballot came in. If you're not sure about your voter registration, how you signed it, or if you've moved and it's current, you can check that voter registration at voterstatus.secretary of state or sos.ca.gov up on the screen. And if you'd like to track your ballot and make sure that it arrives safely for counting, you can do that at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. And finally, I wanted to let you know that Metro Cable will be rebroadcasting some of these forums up until Election Day. Their schedule you can find on Channel 14. They will be rebroadcasting the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors District 3 forum. They'll be rebroadcasting this one that we just heard on Measure C for the City of Sacramento. They'll be rebroadcasting a forum on 3 statewide propositions: Proposition 15, Proposition 20, and Proposition 22. And those are very controversial propositions, so you might want to catch those pros and cons. And they'll also be rebroadcasting a forum that was held on Measure A for the City of Sacramento. That's the strong mayor proposal. So, most importantly, voters, make sure that you vote in this very important election. Good night.